In today's historical analysis, I really want you to just put yourself there. Imagine standing on this dusty, totally desolate trail in 1800s India. There's this profound, heavy silence all around you, right? It's literally only broken by the crunch of your own footsteps. You can smell the wet earth, maybe catch that faint scent of cooking fires from villages you can't even see. Now, it is absolutely wild to think that the person stalking you from the shadows of that dense forest, well, it wasn't your typical rugged bandit. It's someone much closer, someone you might have just shared a meal with. Unpacking the history of the Thuggee cult is honestly deeply unnerving, and it's going to change how you look at a simple journey forever.
Okay, let's dive into this. Consider the historical accounts that mention travelers would actually write their wills before a journey. Think about the absolute certainty of danger that implies. Stepping out of your village back then wasn't some fun adventure. It was a literal gamble with your life. You weren't just packing rations for the road, you were quite literally preparing for your own demise. And why? Because entire caravans, dozens of people at a time, were just vanishing on the highways without a single trace.
Section 1. The terrifying journey of the 1800s. To really grasp how entire caravans could just vanish into thin air, we have to look at the macro environment of India during this period. The geographical isolation was basically the absolute perfect trap. We're talking about a world with essentially zero infrastructure. Obviously no trains, no telegraph wires to tap out a distress signal, and absolutely no paved roads. It was a landscape totally dominated by dense, isolating wilderness. So imagine the extreme vulnerability of trying to travel from, say, Delhi to Agra. You are entirely cut off from the rest of the world for weeks, sometimes even months at a time. It's literally just you, your traveling companions, and the deep, silent woods.
Section 2. Death in a sweet disguise.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how that profound isolation leads us right into the psychological horror of the actual threat. Usually, travelers expected to fear the obvious stuff, right? Roaring lions, aggressive herds of wild elephants, or your standard rugged robbers wielding swords and guns. But the actual danger? It was entirely different. The thugs didn't look like criminals at all. They were polite, they were often highly educated, and they were incredibly sweet-talking companions. Honestly, they were exactly the kind of people you'd be overwhelmingly relieved to meet on a dark, terrifying road. And that charming, manipulative reality, that was absolutely their greatest weapon.
Section 3. The bloody yellow scarf. Let's move to and see how this builds, because once they had you fooled, their terrifying modus operandi unfolded step by chilling step. First off, they would approach a group of travelers and cite the exact same dangers we were just talking about. They'd say something like, "Sir, the roads are incredibly dangerous, why don't we travel together for safety?" Then, step 2, they'd spend days slowly gaining your trust. They'd share meals by the campfire, laugh with you, warmly ask about your family back home. It's incredibly intimate. Third, they would patiently, and I mean very patiently, wait until the group reached a point of complete and utter geographical isolation. And finally, step 4. In the dead of night, upon a secret visual or auditory signal from their leader, the trap would spring simultaneously on every single traveler. No warning.
The weapon they used for this perfectly synchronized attack was called the Rumal. And here's the crazy part. This wasn't a sword, it wasn't a gun, it was simply a yellow or yellow-orange silk scarf. You see, they completely abhorred the spilling of blood. So this was both a tactical choice and a deeply religious one. They would actually tie a silver coin inside the fabric, which acted as a weight. That weight gave them this incredibly fast, lethal, and virtually inescapable grip around the victim's neck. 1 second the scarf was pulled tight, and the next, the silent footsteps of the thugs had claimed another victim. Just a totally bloodless, dead silent assassination.
But you really have to wonder, why did they do it? Well, the terrifying justification for these murders was that the thugs viewed themselves as the children of Kali, the fierce Hindu goddess. They weren't just out there killing for loot. They truly believed they were fulfilling their dharma, which was their highest religious duty. And to ensure their holy work remained entirely undiscovered, they meticulously erased all the evidence. They buried their victims in these incredibly deep, traceless graves, expertly blending the disturbed earth right back into the dense Indian forests, like it never even happened.
Section 4. The British masterstroke.
Now, what happens when entire caravans of people just vanish into thin air over the course of decades? Well, it eventually creates a macro-level geopolitical crisis. So the crucial point is this staggering number: thousands. Literally thousands of people were disappearing without a single clue left behind. To put that into perspective, the British colonial authorities, who were, slowly expanding their administrative grip over India during this time, they were completely and utterly baffled. They simply had no earthly idea where these people were going or who was taking them. The sheer scale of the horror was just unimaginable to them at first.
As the British finally uncovered the reality of the Thuggee cult, they immediately launched a massive eradication campaign. But, and this is key, this campaign served as a powerful catalyst. In the name of wiping out the thugs and making the roads safe again, the British authorities strictly tightened their control over the entire region's police and legal systems. This sweeping crackdown essentially allowed the British to solidify an absolute, overarching grip on the entire nation, all neatly packaged under the banner of law and order.
Which leaves us to conclude this explainer with a really powerful lingering question. Looking at the historical text objectively, we kind of have to ask, did the British truly just want to eliminate the horrific threat of the thugs, or did this terrifying cult provide a perfectly convenient tactical excuse to seize ultimate control of India? It's a wildly fascinating and complex question about exactly how narratives of terror intersect with the expansion of imperial power. Now, I'm absolutely not taking a side here, but I really want to know what you think based on the sources we've unpacked today. Dive into the comments and let me know your thoughts, and as always, keep questioning the history we think we know.